can't think without my problem.
Let's
Try to
start.
leave it in the car.
And leaving. Very good.
Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready, Ron?
Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and bring the Daviess County Commissioners
You hold mine if you want.
March 22nd meeting to order. Want to welcome everybody this morning. We've got Kevin Schwartztrooper here with Providence Midnight Church for Prayer. Morning, Kevin.
All right, let's pray. Father, we come before you this morning, Lord, we thank you. Lord, we thank you for these individuals and their willingness to serve in this way. We thank you, Lord, for your blessing upon the government structure, Lord. And just pray for your spirit to be openly received and for the decisions to be made for your glory and for the service of the community. And thank you for the servant hearts of these individuals. Just pray for your influence upon this meeting, upon this gathering, Father. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we got the meeting minutes from March the 8th meeting. Gentlemen, had a chance to look those over.
Yeah, I saw no changes.
Anything, Ron?
No, they're fine.
If not, look for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart,
Second.
second by Ron Arnold. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, Highway Department. Morning, Chris. We did have a highway meeting this morning. Present was Chris Winkler, Michael Taylor, Ron Arnold, Nathan Gabhart, Rich Graber, and Bill Webster. The only thing we talked about was dust control and managing NDOT grants.
Okay, I'll start off with saying I don't have much to say again, but it's been a while. I know I was sick one meeting and then one meeting before we didn't have anything, so I don't know if I've got much more, but the project updates, Kenneberg Road, they're working north of 200 North on 900 East, and they were gonna start the concrete stabilization today, but with the weather, they're not gonna start today. The paving crews are supposed to be there this week, and they're gonna start prepping the rock and the fill and getting everything to grade so the concrete crew can come in and start at 100 North and basically go as far as they can go, which would be a little north of 200 North is what they're hoping. Probably the 4th or the 11th of next month is when they're wanting to start seeing some concrete put down. So that'd be good news for the residents. Other than that, the bridge in Montgomery, we're still waiting to see if we get awarded the grant, which should be the 2nd or 3rd week of May, somewhere when they usually talk about that. Our crews are right now concentrating on changing culverts and changing out a box structure on the Glendale Road project that we got awarded. So we're prepping that ahead of time before the paving crews come in and pave that. And I think they were planning on paving in May. We've got an intersection that has been a little dangerous, and we're planning on rebuilding that intersection, doing a little bit of work like that. The only other thing I've got is a supplemental agreement from county, the SJCA,
Right.
which I guess that was in your guys'
Yeah, we got it here in the packet here.
packet. And we had talked about it, what the federal government had changed the load ratings on the bridges. And it was I don't know how to say it, it was a now factor. It had to happen now. And they actually had a date of March 7th that it was due, but they did push the date off. And it's a 80% the NDOT pay, and we pay 20%. We've got 68 bridges. I believe the total was like 13,490 was the total, which we'll pay that and then be reimbursed. So total will be roughly $2,800.
It was like 13,940, I think is what it was.
Yeah, so we'll have to pay it, but then we'll be reimbursed 80% of it, and then we'll be left with the $2,788.
This is strictly for SJRS, can you say it?
Yeah, SJCA,
SJCA, this is just for their bridge inspection portion of it, right?
yeah, well, they've got to change the load ratings in it, and, I guess the federal government contacted NDOT. The NDOT contacted our bridge consultant, each county's bridge consultant, and they were the one doing our inspections.
Right.
So that's who they contacted and had them make an amendment, and you guys got a copy of that.
Yeah.
To get signed, so we can turn it into NDOT, and they can issue us a PO and keep our funding going.
And you've got that in your budget to pay for that up front, and you
Yes,
get reimbursed for.
Yes.
Gentlemen, have any more questions on that for Nathan, you have anything else on that?
No.
If not, I'd like to look for a motion to approve this amendment for SJCA for, what was it again? $13,940, and then we'll be reimbursed 80% of that.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart.
Second.
Second by Ron Arnold. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then, I guess we advertised our dust control, so the next step we'll be doing is county, we'll be starting our dust control services here in the next month. I start prepping them.
Yeah, if everybody could get their request into this highway sooner than later, it'd be much
Yeah.
appreciated.
I think that's it.
What you got today?
Yeah.
We have any LPA vouchers today? We didn't have any, so, good, all right. Thanks, Chris. Nathan. All right, we got the Health Department grant request. Kelly Streeter. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I am here to ask for permission to send in application to draw down from the State Health Department $15,496.23. This will help pay for additional case management for blood lead levels in children here in the county. Due to thresholds changing at the state level of reporting and investigating these, there's going to be additional cases that have to go through assessment, investigation, significant amount of administrative work, as well as working with families. So it's not an unfunded mandate. We're going to get a little bit of money to complete the duties, and I just need to apply for it. So see if I can do so.
You guys have anything else for Kelly
No, thank
on
you.
that?
Nope.
Did not look for a motion to approve the drawdown.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart,
Second.
second by Ron Arnold. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it. Got a heckler in the back, all right, or what? All right, you're up, sir. Gary Allison, you got the 2022 VEST grant.
This is a grant that we applied for. This year we applied for it. We have to replace our vest every 5 years. That's what the manufacturer suggests, so they cover them for 5 years if one should happen to get through. And this grant will pay for half of them, and I think I gotta get 15.
15.
They're about $800 a piece, so it don't open up till April 1. But we've received it in the past.
Yeah, you said that just, it's 100% or 50%?
50%.
50% matching, okay. I guess you got everything else in your budget to take care of everything else?
Yep.
Guys, anything else for Gary on that, for the vest?
Nope.
Look for a motion to approve the matching, or the 50% matching grant fund for the vest.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart,
Second.
second by Ron Arnold. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thanks, appreciate it, Gary. All right, we got the Daviess County Airport taxi line B1 and B2 construction project grant request. I don't think we have anybody from the airport here, doesn't look like. That grant is $575,000. The amount of the match, or wait a minute, the amount requested is $575,000. The amount of the match is $28,750. And the design for the project has been completed with the plans going out to bid in the very near future. We respectfully request the county's approval for submission to the FAA. You guys have any more questions on that for the construction out there at the airport?
No, it's good to see it moving forward.
Yep, I'm glad to get that project done. Look for a motion to approve the grant.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart,
Second.
second by Ron Arnold, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we got the Baker Tilly contract. Here.
Michael, I can speak to that.
Yeah, if you want to speak on that and
So
give
that
us an
is,
update on that, then the amount is what, 14,000, up to 14,000 PRN.
right, we just have an up to amount. We just utilize her services. It's Paige Sansone from Baker Tilly. This is for a budget consultant. Auditor's office uses Paige, and also the council uses Paige. If you recall, doing some budget reviews at the budget hearing, she went over funds and what they can be used for. She also is our second set of eyes on some of our major 1782 notices and budget order notices. So we always send it to her just for her expertise, and it's just I believe you all got a email from the president from the council encouraging to continue that.
Yeah, we did. At least I did. I guess you guys did too.
Yeah.
Nathan's thinking about it still.
Oh, well, I would be a little bit more clarity on their pay ranges, but I bet they do great work. I have no
Yeah.
issue with their work, but, 350 to 540.
That's all over the board. It is.
That's why I
Yeah.
know, do I have a 540 person in front of me or a 350 person in front of me? And sometimes you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't tell you. So,
Who's
but
working on it? Yeah.
I like their work, so I
Yeah, they
think
do good work. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Patty, on that?
No, I just recommend that we do utilize and continue to utilize her service. Very worthwhile.
Looks like that'll be 14,000 paid out of the commissioner's consultant line of 1,000-31,600.
And that total amount, I don't know that we,
That's
have
up
it-
to,
yes, it's an up to
Yeah.
amount. We only utilize her on specific requests for her expertise.
And is it part of our 75,000 currently that we've got budgeted? Or do we need to get another?
No, I think we're fine.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's plenty of money in there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have no problem with it. I'll make a motion if there's no
you
question.
got anything else, Ron, on that?
No, I'll just say that their reports, they give us what we ask, but I think in the future, we need to give them more information, get a more in-depth report. It's like on the last projections they did, it really didn't take into account the grant funding in that cycle. And again, they can only work with what we give
Yeah,
them.
I think we need to give them, because we have worked with them on projects before and give them project costs and stuff like that, but I think
Yeah, and I agree, they do great work. I've used them for years.
sounds good. If not, look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart,
Second.
second by Ron Arnold, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next thing is Town of Odin, 2027 call for projects and application. The Town of Odin did get awarded their project from NDOT for the 900 East project, which is, I can't remember what road that is in, in Odin, but they did get that awarded. So I think we have a 10% match on that for the
At
county.
West Street?
West Street, I think it is West Street.
West Street.
Goes from the park out to Highway 58, they're gonna open up the road, and make it wider, and then get the radius at the 58 a lot wider to get trucks in and out of there, so. And the county is gonna be backing that and funding part of that other match.
Michael, do you recall where that discussion was?
I don't,
that
I think we
funding
discussed
source
that this
was?
morning too. I need to go back and figure out what we was gonna pay for that out of. We had a couple different options this morning we was talking about. Was it industrial road from one of them,
That was one of them, and potentially edit funds.
edit funds? So we need to go back and make sure we know where that money's coming from. I know we got a little bit of time on this because it's 2027 calling, but I know
Well, I know a year ago,
engineering and right away will be coming up soon.
well, probably 2 years ago when we first did this, I know Phil had, he was one spearheading it. So
Right.
I know he had the funding source in his head.
Yeah, I could probably reach out to Phil,
Yeah.
talk to him about it.
But the funding's there, we just had to figure out which fund.
Which fund it's gonna be, yeah. All right, any more questions on Odin? I just wanna congratulate them for getting their funding, because it's a very worthwhile project up there. All right, number 8, we got blighted property enforcement officer. I know Nathan's been working on this
Yeah,
for a couple weeks here.
yeah, I just wanted to update everyone. I appreciate the city being here. I should have reached out to you guys. Sorry, but thanks for being here. So Matt Meredith and Marilyn McCullough and I met with John and Brandt, Mayor Rhodes, and Councilman Brown several weeks ago, basically just to get educated on how does this system work, and so we've learned quite a bit in the past. Basically, the issues that we're having is some of these properties that are near cities, towns, or in high visible areas. I don't think any of us have any appetite to go out and do county-wide
Yeah,
zoning and getting every lot up to a city level
I think we concentrate maybe on the 2-mile radius, something that's close to the,
nearby, yeah.
close to the municipalities.
But we know like the junkyard down by the west end, that's just outside the city, and there's a junkyard on 231. There's, property right outside Offordsville, and I'm sure there's probably 50 more once we get into this. So we want to be cautious. We reached out to Knox County. They've gone through a similar thing over the past couple of years, and so really we just modeled everything off of them. We reached out to the city to see, hey, on this zoning agreement that we have with the building commissioner, can that person take on any more responsibilities, and just change that job description. But we're coming to the busy time of the building season with spring and summer and
Right.
fall, and that person's busy. We reached out to the health department because currently we have a junkyard ordinance that we passed back in 2003 that we have on the books, and there's landowners that are in violation of our ordinance. But then that goes through the county sanitary officer. When I reached out to them, they're now doing the lead-based inspections. They're doing several dozen of those a
They're
month.
busy too, yeah.
And they're inspecting all the food establishments, and they're overseeing the septic systems and so forth.
Who takes care of whatever? Does Carl do the septic? And
yeah.
then Jeff does everything else?
Jeff does the lead and the food inspections. So, because if we try to figure out, do we have existing resources that we can just push harder, right? And we pushed it as hard as we could. So we contacted the city, we contacted the health department, and basically, so now we're at an option. We're at a crossroad now. Either we need to repeal the junkyard ordinance because we're not enforcing it, or we need to keep it and put together some resources to go and actually enforce it. Because it's called junkyard ordinance, but under it is basically all your unkept properties, your unsafe buildings.
So like that 2003 ordinance, has it got any teeth with it at all?
There is some fines and so forth in there, but it's just not being enforced. So, and then there's no one to oversee it, because it's technically it would fall under the, Jeff Stoner, but there's no time
For them to do it?
to do it. So what the Knox County did is they hired a code enforcement officer. It's a contract employee. The employee provides everything from cars, cell phones. There's no office space. It's just a contracted employee. And then they report to a 3-person board that's overseen by the commissioners. And then there's a process that's followed. And I would just suggest we would just really look at the Knox County ordinance and follow that.
I don't have any trouble with the Knox County ordinance other than just the sheer cost. I mean, I don't know how many places we're gonna clean up. I didn't know if this could be more of a, not to exceed contract at that price. And then just, it has billable hours, he would bill up to that point, maybe?
Yeah, we
Would that
can
be
look.
possible?
It could, but it could be possible, but then, so at 30,000 feet, the way I look at it, Knox County is 45,000.
Right.
If we extrapolated it based off population, would be 37.5.
Is that?
So for 37, so let's say we took it to an hourly basis and it was 18,000 or 25,000 versus 37.5. It was $10,000 is nothing to sneeze at, but someone's got to monitor it, audit the time cards, and in Knox County they had 275 properties.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because Knox County, I think they do the entire county, don't they?
Except and then they do, I think they do contract with some of the towns. If there could be an interlocal, but right now it's just the county jurisdiction, which is kind of where we would start. And in my opinion, if we do 2 miles of every city and town, I mean, there's probably going to be 50 properties.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think we're having near the quantity what Knox County has, but we'll have some, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking 50 properties. I mean, if you look at the 2 junkyards and just the properties I'm thinking in my head, that's probably a good year or 2 years worth of work just getting those properties going. Because right now we're starting kind of from zero.
Right.
And this is an annual contract. It can be repealed at any point in time. So I don't care to look at the hourly rate.
I just wanted to make sure we get best bang for our buck, you know?
Yeah, I'm just wanting as much resources available as possible, and we could do it not to exceed bill it at an hourly rate. But when I look at, $1.5 billion of assessed value, and it's, 37,000 versus 20,000.
Right.
It's 17,000, someone's gotta monitor that.
What, do we need to go back and revisit our ordinance, you think? I mean, do you think there's enough in there to do what we need to do right now if we're actually gonna hire a person to get this under control?
Well, we'll have to take that ordinance, take Knox County ordinance and merge it.
Merge it.
And then, but that's one thing this person would do, is take those ordinances, take the best out of both, merge it into one and say, hey, here's a new ordinance we need to pass.
So we do need to get that updated then.
But someone's gotta, spearhead it, and I definitely don't wanna shuck the responsibility, but to spearhead something like this, I mean, it's every week. I mean, it's not necessarily a full-time job, but
Yeah,
it's.
but it'll be
I mean,
2 or 3 days a week probably. at
Yeah, we
least,
need 20, 30 hours a week of someone's time. I mean, I don't know what city, I mean, you guys do this all day long. I mean, as far as what you've heard so far, I mean, you guys have any feedback of?
How many hours do you guys spend on your, junkyard ordinance or whatever you guys take care of? I know you guys take care of tall grass and everything else in the city too, but how many hours a week do you guys spend on that, roughly?
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Just state your name when you get up here too, please.
Brent Powden, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of Washington. I'm hired full-time. I do grass, trash, junk vehicles. Me and John work on the dilapidated housing. And it's a full-time job for me. That's strictly what I do. I believe, just from your guys' conversation this morning, once you review your ordinance and see if it has enough teeth to do what you guys want to do, to me, if I was you guys, I would look for a contractor if somebody doesn't clean up the property, to hire to go in to do it. I believe a letter from Grant stating the ordinance, what's going on at the property, give them a deadline to have it cleaned up. And as much as Carl is out in the county, looking at septic tanks, whatever he does, he could drive by the property that's in question and are they cleaning it up? Are they making an attempt to clean it up? And it doesn't take much other than, okay, it's not cleaned up, the deadline's met, we're gonna send our contractor out to clean it up.
Then put it on the property tax roll,
tax rolls.
slap,
Yes.
slap a lien on it, is
Yes,
that correct?
Yes, exactly. But it is a lien, and I can help you guys out with forms or whatever you need there. I've got copies and But again, from, you know, just me, I would look at your ordinance first, see what you need to adopt, add to, and then, just personally as a taxpayer, taking on that kind of money and for just as little as work as it is, it's kind of stretched to me. Just like I said, it would be easier to Grant to send a letter to say, here's our deadline.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, I don't disagree, but why aren't we doing it? And the reason
Yeah.
we're not doing it is because we don't have anyone in the county in charge of it. So
directed
that's the
to go
problem
forward,
is, the application of it's not challenging, but we don't have a person to do it.
To do it, yeah.
So therefore, we gotta have a person to do it. And, that's one reason we reached out to the city, because with the existing contract, no resources there. We reached out to the health department, no resources there. So, if nothing changes, then we might as well just repeal the ordinance, or else we gotta have someone in charge of it.
Charge of it, yeah. I don't disagree with that. I just, you know,
Well-
just wanna make sure we ain't overpaying a
It's an
position.
issue from an economic development standpoint. It's something we looked at years ago. They actually have a program to help clean up properties, putting liens on it, but it's volunteer. And I think the solution is gonna be a combination of both. From what I've seen, and I've looked at your fee schedules as far as, you know, if you wanna build a house or if you wanna adopt a cat or a dog, the fees, I think the whole department needs to have a relook at the fee schedule. But these guys are the experts locally. If we contract with someone, I'd wanna do it through them if they're willing. Add personnel and, because they've got the expertise. And again, kind of the same deal with the city and the dispatch. If we can get more bang for the buck by working with them.
Without question, and we've had conversations in that space, but we've had those conversations.
I mean, I would pursue that line,
Well,
and again, if they're agreeable to it.
Well, I think I don't want to speak for them. So we discussed that topic, and it's just the time and energy that this is going to take on. I mean, again, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but I didn't get the impression that that was an option after our meeting. So, because
I mean, if
we
we-
tried to vet.
Yeah, but was the question,
If we hired a
can they take
contractor.
on that?
We hired a contractor and then had them help us.
Yeah.
Because we
Who does that contractor report to is the question. Can we do it through them and let them oversee it and help with that? Or do we put something separate that, because I've done the one-person operation before. It'll be a lot more effective if they have support.
Go ahead, John.
I mean, I didn't want to jump in. John Casper, Building Commissioner, City of Washington. Kind of along all your lines there. You know, we've had those talks in the past about that 2 mile. Now it's this way, and
Yeah.
it's
No man's land, yeah.
it is. You know, and I think the Plan Commission even had a semi-formal meeting there a year ago, and talking city, who's gonna do this or that. I mean, ultimately, city of Worth County, I mean, it's gonna end up in our office. That's just the nature of what we do, and you know, we're out and about. We don't go out in the county a whole lot due to resources, you know, kind of like you all said. But, you know, your idea of having 2 miles around each kind of municipality, you know, for us, ours would cover more area in the 2 mile comparative to such like that, so.
I think it just, it's like the 2 mile radius around Washington, it's already a set boundary, but the APC on the rest of the municipalities like Odin, Plainville, Rydellsville, all those are all 1 mile radius.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote, you know, starting off, I wrote half mile. Because again, that's the problem is when you go across the street and it's county, let's start the first half mile, and then, but we got all the towns. We got Odin, we got Ukraine, we got Ragglesville, we got
Elnor, Plainville,
Offordsville,
yeah.
Elnor. So we need every
yeah.
town. And then we also have the high visibility areas. We got the highways. We got the roads that have an, you know, ADT over 1,000 a day that's driving by. Because that's basically what it is we don't want people seeing trash and filth. I mean, like legit trash and filth. Because it's a poor reflection on Daviess County. Who would want to move here when they see that? On 231, you see up by Odin, for instance.
Yep.
I mean, it's embarrassing. So it's cities, towns, and then high visibility areas. But if we can centralize it in Washington, that would be perfect, in my opinion, but again, time and energy and resources, and if that's an option, then I would love to talk about that again.
I'd love to talk about that too. If we,
I think
if
it's
we
great.
contract a person and work with you guys to help get that process done.
I agree, it needs to be one person designated for that, so somebody's responsible. What I'd like to see is for them to come with a proposal on what it would cost to add that person, either on a contractual basis to your office, and then some deliverables, and then, you know, we talk about the 2 mile or the half mile. I think we can start there, but I think it should be the whole county at the end of the day, because there's property at Westgate that needs to be dealt with, like you said, on 231.
Yeah, but you got the town of Crane there, which you can still get within that radius, I think.
Does it
Crane
matter that
Village.
Does it matter that they're?
I guess they're in Martin County, aren't they? Yeah, they are in Martin County.
Well, but that's the
They
point,
won't
though.
like us telling them what to do, I'll
But
guarantee
that's,
you that.
but if we concentrate it to high visibility, which that is high visibility,
right.
that would take care of it.
Uh,
I just don't wanna get, the reason I don't wanna get too far out, like, just say Odin or Plainville. I mean, you're out in the country and agriculture, and there is stuff piled up around people's farms and stuff. I don't wanna get into that.
And I
It gets
don't
too
wanna go
messy.
to a guy's farm and tell
That
him
just
he's
gets
got-
messy, you know, so.
I
but
agree.
As long as we keep it within a certain mile radius around the smaller municipalities, and then, but
Yeah.
since Washington's already got a 2 mile radius, we could definitely concentrate on the 2 mile radius here.
Kind of going back to, you guys were talking earlier about what's the teeth of the junkyard ordinance. I agree, it's kind of worded a little different. I mean, it's more centered towards junkyards instead of, you know, ours is centered around unsafe buildings. We use Indiana Code 36-7-9. It's the Indiana Unsafe Building Law. It's very explicit in there that says, you know, if we deem it unsafe to the habitant, but also the general public, we send a letter. So we start the process with a stamp.
Okay.
And then if we hear, we work with them. I would say 50-50. They'll call us. You know, we either set something up, work with them, go through it, and tell them, here's what I don't like about it. Sometimes we don't hear anything back, and then we take that a step further and send a hearing notice. Our city attorney is there, and it's all recorded. And so then, you know, it's properly recorded here at the courthouse, and you know, everything's there, and then again, everything goes on the taxes.
Okay.
Well, so since I've been here, this is be my 3rd year. I think we've got a hold of 14 different buildings. I think we just got 5 more last week, last Wednesday. 5 out of 7. The other 2 were put on a timeline. We'll probably end up getting those. It's just,
So regarding this topic, again, time is precious for everybody. I mean, because based off population, if we did it Knox County's way, our cost would be $37.5 to basically have a full-time contracted person on board for the county. I mean, do you think it's even feasible for the city to create some sort of agreement that's gonna be less than $37.5 to take on that radius within every municipality?
and then so we're talking essentially a similar 2-mile zone around every.
We
Well-
say 1 mile.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah,
is
we
established.
keep the Washington at 2 mile, but all the other municipalities probably at 1 mile, because that's the way the APC created the zoning, that's what they've done.
But then the caveats on that though is we want it to be based off our definition of blighted properties and maybe not necessarily the city of Washington's definition. Because I mean, these people are in the city, right? City should be high standards, and then as you move out, it should gradually go down, and there should be a baseline theoretically for all, which is your unsafe buildings. But we'd want a process to where, you know, if you go to Grant's house or something and say he's got too many kids' toys laying around, which you probably bad example, but you know what I mean. There need to be
Fair
some
criticism.
Got
some
you
sort
thrown on
of
the bus, huh?
some sort of intervention from the county. But basically, back to my original point, though. I mean, 1, do you think there's appetite to take this on? And then 2, at that price point, do you think it's even feasible?
I can't speak on price, obviously, but say a lot of our stuff starts with a stamp. now, obviously, the travel to see, take pictures, document, you know, that kind of thing. But I don't think it's an area where it's an overloading. Yes, because if we went from here to Odin and kind of took a couple trips around Odin, we'd probably burn up a half a day. You know, by the time we get up there or look at different things, similar to Alfredsville and what have you. So, I don't think those trips would have to be made weekly.
No.
You know, if it's a dilapidated place, it's probably been there a while.
Wow, yeah.
You know, and it's gonna take a little bit to get another property back to that. So, I think it's doable.
Okay.
Price point, I don't know, I got a boss that likes to
Yep,
look at
yep.
numbers too.
I
So,
understand.
Okay.
let's let him do that, but,
Well, and again,
I mean, I think ultimately, you know, we're here in the county too, you know, city's here. I just think this is probably where it needs to be. Do I wanna put more work on me and my office? No, but it makes sense. Makes sense for,
well, and I would say stay within that price point, but then also if you feel it can't be done, come up with a number that you think it is, because I do think at the end of the day, it's gonna be a public-private solution. There might be some private entities that would help out with that. You know, the property owners we talked to before, the issue well, we don't have the money to do it. We'd like to do something. So with the lien, we made it easy for them to do that, but we had the money to do it. I think we tore down a house or two and a couple garages and cleaned up a lot. And I think there were 3 projects in particular, I know on 2 of them, they got their money back. And the neighbors were very thankful for that. So it's like, you know, and again, I like the idea of a stamp rather than, you know, the lawsuit to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, stay within that, but then if you feel that can't be done, just come up with a number and what it's gonna take.
yeah, you know, ultimately, you know, when we get to the very end and we're getting no movement from the homeowner, well, okay, we've gotta move, and, yeah, then we just let it out for bids at our city council meetings, and once you get past the hearing, it's kinda all downhill from there. For us, we just take this paper here and go record it, and we don't ever see any money, but I don't know how, the structure you guys would wanna
I mean,
decide.
if we don't wanna recreate their will,
Yeah,
if
no.
the city's an option, was the number one option in my head. And then when I thought that wasn't an option, I thought, well, we gotta find out what's the next best option, so. Let's do this, you guys, take some time to think about it, I'll probably follow up with you guys in April, first week in April, and maybe we can get back together, see what you guys, Dave and council thinks. We'll talk about it again here in April.
Yeah, like I said, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about that 2 mile for a long time.
2 miles has always been,
And just just Washington, of course, and, you know, so, everybody's gonna have their opinion one way or another, but move forward, let's be at one spot.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming in
appreciate it.
today, very helpful.
yeah, thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
You guys have any more discussion on it? You said you just follow up in April?
Yeah, I'll follow up with them in April and report back.
All right, sounds good. That'd just be an FYI on the lighter property then until we come back. All right, gentlemen, have anything else?
I do not.
Nathan, you have anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Anybody else have anything for the commissioners? If not, I'd like to get a motion to pay payroll, pay claims, and adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nathan Gabhart. Second. Second by Ron Arnold. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Great, thanks.